Captain's Log, July 23rd, 2026. Hello, I'm Captain Vile. Good on you, you've made it to Friday. Now, before I continue with the rest of this show, I would like to apologize for missing last show. That happened because last week I was I still kind of am, but it's more manageable. Like, I'm able to stay up later. But I was waking up at like 4 in the morning and going to bed at like 6 p.m. and I couldn't very well record at like I couldn't record that early, and I was too tired to record later. I tried staying up that night, but I couldn't because I normally record these at like 7 or 8. I'm recording this one at 6, just after getting home from class. But I apologize. Now you may be thinking, Captain, it's not that big a deal that you miss one show. But that one... Now, yes, it is not that large a deal. However, I am willing to bet that there is a handful of violence of which listening to the Captain's Log is part of their routine, and I inadvertently disrupted that routine by failing to record one. And of course, I suppose this is a whole, like, entertainer audience thing, but yes, they are not entitled to the program, and I do not owe them the program, but I enjoy making it, and it's... I mean, there is some, like, how I envision the channel. This is an odd way of visualizing it, but it's how I see it, is I see the entire channel as an amusement park, where the older videos that are up and you can go watch them are rides, which are, like, up and running, and you can go on them and whatnot. And the current series of videos, Captain's Log, as of recording, Dark Souls 2, and Subnautica Below Zero, those are the feature presentations, of which you can take a break from the rides and go watch. But on this particular feature presentation, the smoke rose on the stage. It, like, became thicker and then dissipated, and hey, the host hasn't come out of the trapdoor, right? He's not presenting anything. He's not here. That's what happened last week, so it's... I apologize. Oh well. Anyway, this week, so we've got... allow me to open my letterbox. One moment. Get the films. So, yes, Portrait of a Lady on Fire. So I've watched 3 movies since then. So, interestingly enough, I'll start with the school-appointed movie, even though it's the most recently watched one. So, Beyond the Infinite 2 Minutes, I gave it 3.5 stars, and said it can be repetitive since there's several scenes of the characters reenacting what they've seen themselves do, but it gets less common as it goes on. Impressively shot, decently funny, I liked the ending. So, Beyond the Infinite 2 Minutes is a Japanese indie film that is set not quite in a time loop. We were told it was a time loop, but it was really more of like a vision of the future. So a guy turns his TV on, and he's got 2 monitors, and one of them shows 2 minutes into the future, so he can record a message for his past 2-minute self, and they find a way to make it, like, extend past 2 minutes so they can see a couple hours in the future, and it's a good watch. But it's, interestingly, there's a specific name for the type of way it's shot that escapes me at the moment. I'm not going to try and pronounce it. I remember half the word, so I'm not going to butcher it, but it is shot in 10-minute intervals, and if you're watching closely, you can see where the cut is, but it is made to look as if it is one long take. It's 70 minutes. It's not that long of a movie, but it's very well paced. I mean, as I said earlier, it's a slow start, but it picks up, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes in or so. Once all the characters have been introduced, and once they find the way to make the loop, or to get the messages to be further and further, it's like the consequences of their, I don't know, insight take the reins, and it's them kind of, all right, we said this, or we were told by future us this at this time, so now that we are presently future us, we're going to tell past us this, and they take a break from the plot and then do that, and it's kind of funny. But it's well paced. You'd think it would feel a lot longer, having it look as if it's one long take. It was quite interesting. So, secondly, I watched this on a whim. Dust Bunny. I gave this 4 stars. I'm rethinking that score, and you'll see why. But I said, I'm torn on this. Colorful film. I liked the shots, lighting, editing, and especially the sets. The story is fine, and some of the dialogue could use work, and there's noticeable green screen at parts. But it's a fun film that looks great. So, this film has a distinct and very interesting visual style. And it's well acted. It's got Mads Mikkelsen, I think is his name. I don't know. I'm neutral on him, but there is an actor in this that I do quite like. I can't remember his name. But he was in Late Night with the Devil, and he's in this for a smaller role in the third act. But the plot is the little girl hires a hitman to kill a monster under her bed, which is an interesting idea. And it's, like, it's so well shot and well edited. There's a scene where the hitman is talking to a colleague, and they're in a restaurant, and the restaurant has these, like, ring lights on the ceiling, and it's shot at a lower angle pointing up, so it looks like the characters have halos. And then as the conversation progresses, it's shot at, like, less steeper angles, so that the halos don't look as though they're on their heads, because it's like, oh, they're talking about, like, murdering children. And it's well done, and there's a nice scene where the scene where she hires him to kill the monster is via a letter, and they don't have a voiceover. It's just text on screen in, like, her handwriting, and it's really, you'd think, like, if a producer saw that, he'd like, no, the audience retention is going to go down. That's for, like, YouTube, but, like, the audience is going to, like, skip past this scene because there's no dialogue. It's just him looking at a piece of paper, and there's, like, red text popping up over the screen, and it looks a little awkward, but it looked interesting. It is a very visually interesting film, and the sets are really well done. But it's just the dialogue, and it's candy. Or maybe a bag of chips, but this is a fun, well-made, visually film, but there's not very much there other than it's style over substance, I'd say. But it's just it's quite stylish, so that's why I was torn on the score. I think I would have rather given it a 3.5 or maybe a 3. But I don't know. I'm torn on it. Now, the last one is rather interesting. So, this was the first one watched, but I went through them in, like, a reverse chronological order for no reason. I guess I'll save this one for last. This is For Liberty, a Helldivers film. I give it 4 stars, and I said, incredibly well made, nice shots and music. It helps to be a fan of the game, but that's what I'm in play. But someone unaware should still be able to enjoy this passion-fueled film. The introduction of the veteran and large automaton fight stands out, with using the guns as lasers and lasers as light in fog and night. So this is a fan animation that is 50 minutes long of the game Helldivers 2. Which, as I said, it helps to be a fan of the game, but if you don't know anything about the game, or if the only thing you know about Helldivers 2 is it's Starship Troopers but a video game, and there's also robots, because they don't just fight the bugs, and they also are... But I'm not talking about the game, I'm talking about the movie, which is about the game, but it's very well made. I quite liked it. It was done on like a shoestring budget. The voice I didn't mention this. The voice acting was a little shoddy at parts, and the Helldivers themselves. Excuse me, sorry. So the Helldivers are wearing helmets, so they don't need to lip sync for them when they speak. But there are maybe a few characters. I want to say maybe like 4 or 5 total. I mean, maybe there's like some smaller roles who do have lip syncing, and this is a nitpick at most. And it's like, it's noticeable that they are not syncing up to what they're saying. But that's a very it's well animated. The action scenes are well done. I quite liked I don't want to spoil anything, but it's how they treated the character deaths is as they should if you play the game, because you go through like 4, depending on the difficulty and your skill, of course, but you go through like 5 soldiers a mission, and it's like, if you lose 1, it's like, who cares? you can lose like 10, and they'll be like, maybe we should stop sending them into this meat grinder. And I quite enjoyed it. Now, as for... it's like a lot of movies for this one. So I'm back at school. I was going to talk about my week back last week, but didn't. Anyway. So the second class of my first day back was interesting. Everything else was uneventful for the first week, but the second class of the first day was scheduled for a part of the school I've never been in before. It was scheduled for the music room, or the music area. So I asked the front... I tried to find this music room, and couldn't find it, so I asked the front desk, and they pointed me in the area I was looking around, but in a more specific zone of it. And I still couldn't find the room. So by chance, I was just walking by, like, the cafeteria, and I saw my, like, teacher and 2 other students, and I was like, oh, alright, I'll see if they know where it is. And they didn't. They were, like, going there to see if any, like, stray students in the class were lost, like I was. And then she had to get another teacher in the music course to get us to the room. And that we couldn't find it because it was in a hallway we didn't have access to, so they had to open the door with a key card and get us into the hallway with the room. But after they let us into the hallway, they just left. So we didn't have access to the room because it needed a key card, which the guy had, but he left. So it was a huge thing on the school's scheduling department. So the teacher had to call the scheduling department and get us in a different room. But I think that was it was funny. So what about this week? Well, we are, for one class, one project. We have 3 projects. This particular project is a like course-wide one, where we're all working on the same movie that one of the teachers wrote the script for. So I'm playing... It's like a gothic rom-com. But anyway, I'm playing a monster, and there's a mad scientist and blah blah blah. That's not really important. What is important is that we shot most of my scenes today, but so I wore makeup for this, or I had one of the I don't. She's in the film course, but I guess she's just good at applying makeup because there are like there's a makeup course for like costumes and whatnot. Anyway, I had makeup applied, and it was rather interesting. It took maybe 20 minutes. Like it was detailed. The specific, and this will come into play later when I wash the makeup off. But it was a gray base with like black on my eye sockets and eyelids, and lips, and kind of darkening around that so it kind of blended the black and gray, so it didn't look like it just suddenly became black and gray. It was pretty well done, but it was rather, and this like also throughout because I had the costume. The costume was like a robe, but it wasn't a like sleeves and a hood. It was a piece of fabric that was just huge that I like wrapped around myself, and I had to kind of fashion a hood out of like a spot from it. But I have no other way of describing what it was like other than being like a canvas, I guess, because I would consider like certain makeup like that practical effects makeup, not like, I don't know, wake up in the morning and put, what is it, like foundation on or something. Like, what was I talking about? Practical effects makeup. That's like an art. There's an art in that where that's one of the few arts where, I don't know, like a human being is the canvas and not just like a tool. Well, I guess they were like a kind of a tool in like film. I don't know, but it was interesting being a veritable like a canvas for someone to paint on. I don't know. I was like them painting on my eyelids. That was a bit much. I didn't complain about that, and it wasn't that annoying. But it was weird having it like lightly press on my like eyeball. And also I had to like keep them closed while they did one eye, and because it was in a really cluttered room, they like walked behind me and did the other eye, so I could like track them and be like, okay, they're in this approximate spot, and they're probably about to apply the like makeup on my eye again. And later on, when we were doing like scenes with the robe as the costume, one of the like crew members had to like, they had a specific, because we didn't have any buttons or any, like, they tried using masking tape, but it didn't work. So they just pulled like some what are they, not rubber bands, hair bands. They're called hair bands. So they had to like tie knots within the piece of fabric and like tie it into itself. But I had to like stay perfectly still and have my hands out. So it was like being a canvas and a mannequin. So that was interesting. And then after all the shooting was done, and I had to go wash the makeup off. So I have two thoughts about how that went. The first one was, so I didn't mention this when they, while doing it, but they had applied some on my, like, facial hair and, like, eyebrow as well. So, to, I guess, darken it, but they used black for that. So when I went to wash it off, I just used water in, like, the bathroom. And my opening, I guess, move to wiping it off was get both of my palms wet and, like, rub just, like, my entire face. Which got the the black part of the makeup running, and when I removed my hands to see the the makeup blending with the base, it didn't look very good. So yeah, no. It looks like I was committing a hate crime. So I'm really lucky that no one walked into the bathroom, because it would have been very hard to explain that I was actually trying to take the makeup off with broken teeth. But as I got it more under control, and it was like, oh, actually like coming off, because I had like gotten toilet paper, because they have to like put your hand in the machine and like it blows air on it, so I couldn't get paper towels, so I had to get toilet paper. But I had like wiping it off of that, and I had a thought in like, I don't know if any. I know there's Honeybun who does like cosplay, I believe. I don't know if they ever do makeup to be like, I don't know. What character would even require that level of makeup? I don't know. Can't think of one on the top of my head. But I do not know if there are any violins who are. The specific example I thought of while wiping the makeup off, clowns. Like party clowns or like circus clowns or any other like heavily makeup performer who is kind of being a character. And that must be such a melancholic experience of taking the makeup off. Like the party's over, the fun's finished, everyone's packed up and left, and you're just in like the bathroom wiping off your character's face. Like you can't be Chuckles anymore. You have to start being Bob again. So I don't know, any like heavily makeup performer violins. My condolences. That must be a annoying experience. I mean, annoying for like taking it off, because it's an ordeal. It took probably as long to get the makeup off as to put it on. However, mine was not as complicated. It's like, there are more intricate makeup jobs? Faces? I don't quite know. Finished results. Take your pick. Whatever you want to call it. There are more intricate works out there than what was done for me. I got some pictures of it in the bathroom before wiping it off. I did not get any pictures of the hair away from blackface, though. Why would I take a picture of that? But I did get the finished project, and it looked really well. I've lost track of where I was talking. Yes, it must be, again, just melancholic. Just, alright, well, back to doing this. Back, like, oh, now I gotta drive home. Anywho. Don't know if I have too much else to say. No? Bit of a shorter show. I'm thinking, I think there was something because I wrote all of that down. I think there was something else I wanted to mention, but forgot to. Damn. I'm trying not to have too much dead air while I think if there is something, but I cannot think of anything. Oh well. No, that's everything. So yes, not as long as previous shows, but it's better than no show. But all right. Sleep schedule's in order again, so you shouldn't be missing next week's Captain Blog, which is the. I sure hope I wouldn't miss that. That's a pretty important one. That's the end of the month Captain Log. And we're going into February. It's quite nice that February starts on Sunday. Oh, and ends on Saturday! Well, isn't that, like, wow, that lines up so well. Huh. I was looking at it on the calendar now. That's quite satisfying. And then March breaks that habit. I mean, it starts on Sunday as well. Obviously, it ends on Saturday, so it starts on Sunday, but it ends on Tuesday. Oh, April Fool's Day. Yeah, I forgot. All right, got something planned for that. I did. What did I do last year? I think I did like how Clue Master is Clue Master or something. I'm not gonna do anything for how Riddler is Riddler. I'm gonna do its own how like April Fool's special for that. But we'll get to. I'm not even gonna discuss this in the March show. This is gonna be its own. It's a surprise. Anyway, I've got to go make dinner. So, thank you for watching, and goodbye.